Tesla. It seems like every time we've heard this name in the last month, everybody in this town is just really excited. They build really cool and expensive cars, and they want to build their batteries here. Governor Sandoval did everything but declare it Christmas in September when he made his announcement. The state legislature called an emergency session in 1 week and approved a $1.3 billion package to bring the factory here. The report from the Economic Development Office says that the factory may bring almost 23,000 jobs, which would be a 10% boost to the economy of Washoe and Story County combined. I'm very excited about Tesla building their factory here, but I'm here tonight to share with you some of the negative aspects that this deal might possibly bring to our state and to our community. There are 3 things I specifically want to talk about. First is the job forecast that's been given for the Tesla factory. The second is the cost of the deal to us as Nevadans. And the third is some awareness on some negative history of one of the key players in the Tesla deal. So, let's talk about the jobs. 23,000 jobs. Where does that number come from? It's been thrown around all over the place. Well, the first part comes from Tesla. Tesla said when they were talking about bringing the factory here, we could bring up to 6,500 jobs to this area. So in the calculation made by the Governor's Office on Economic Development, they took that and they changed that to, we will bring 6,500 jobs to this area. So that's the number used for what we call direct jobs in our formula. Now, there's a part of the formula called a multiplier, which consists of indirect jobs. These are the truck drivers that bring stuff to Tesla, the people that paint the building and do janitor work, the people that supply parts to them. Those are indirect jobs. Induced jobs are the person that gets hired at Walmart or Raley's to give them groceries, or Kohl's to sell them clothes. So, doing some backwards math on the governor's report, for each job Tesla creates, the governor's office is saying that 2.5 induced and indirect jobs will be created, for a total of 3.5 jobs per job at Tesla. So we simply take 6,500, we multiply it by 3.5, and we get 22,500 jobs, so almost 23,000 jobs. So what's the problem with that? Sounds great. Well, first, do we have anybody that is an accountant in here? When you're looking at accounting, one of the most important principles is the principle of being conservative. And it is not conservative to use the company's most exciting, best number to use to make your calculation. An economist, let me see. UC Davis economist Martin Kenny said that a similar factory and a similar size community making a similar size output usually brings about 3,000 jobs. So, if that were the only problem, we'd still be okay. But we also have a problem with the multiplier. Richard Florida of the Atlantic says that our multiplier should be 1.5 instead of 3.5. That means for every job that Tesla brings in, it will bring in 1/2 of another job. Brian Bonenfant from the University of Nevada says, no, it's closer to 2.5. It's not 3.5, it's not 1.5, but let's go in the middle. So if we just do that, if we go in the middle and we take, let's say 5,000 jobs instead of 6,500, and let's say a multiplier of 2.5, 12,500, just slightly more than half. We have to cut our expectations for what we expect this to bring to the community in half. Second issue, what are we giving to Tesla for them to build this factory in our town? First, they do not have to pay sales or use tax for 20 years. Second, they pay no property tax or payroll tax for 10 years. Third, they get a tax credit of $12,500 per full-time employee that they employ. So Nevada is giving Tesla between $865 million and $1.3 billion check with actually not much of a guarantee of even a single employee in that. They'll get $865 million without even opening it. Nevada is not exactly in a surplus situation with our budget. We've had to cut higher education, primary education, state programs, state employees. We need to be very careful how we use this, and we need to make sure that Tesla delivers on their promises. The final thing I want to talk about, Lance Gilman. Lance Gilman is the center of this transaction. He owns the Tahoe Regional Planning Park that they're going to put this whole thing in. He has a bit of a history that we might want to consider watching him closely. He owns the Mustang Ranch brothel, and he owns the industrial park. Now, previously he owned the Wild Horse brothel, which sits across the parking lot and is now closed. It is closed because he took a $2.5 million loan from a friend. Then he went to the county commission in Story County, got them to make rules that said anyone who has an interest in a brothel needs to go through the full investigation process. Now, this friend, of course, hadn't gone through the investigation process, and he gave him 1%, so as soon as he got the rule passed, he turns himself in. And they pull his license, which is okay because he secured another license across the parking lot. And he keeps the money. And the guy has to take him to court and cause this big drama production to get his $2.5 million back from this guy. Is this the person we want representing the state of Nevada in this transaction in our most important business? I can't actually say no to that because Tesla's a multi-billion-dollar company. They've done their due diligence. If they want him for a landlord, that's okay. But we really need to watch. We need to be aware that we might not be getting what we were promised, that we might not, that we need to watch and make sure we do get at least some of what we promised, and that we watch this guy carefully. Now, I see a silver lining for Tesla. They're going to bring in billions, if not hundreds of billions of dollars to our neighborhood. They may start a chain reaction of other businesses coming. It may be positive. Keep your hope, keep your positive. Let's move forward with care. Let's take the big step, but let's watch where we step so we don't step into something unpleasant. Mr. Toastmaster.